From the News Channel 5 Network, this is Inside Politics.
Hello everyone, I'm News Channel 5's political analyst Pat Nolan. Welcome to Inside Politics. Today on this show, we continue our conversations with those who want to be Nashville's mayor. Our guest is the person currently holding that job, incumbent Mayor David Briley. Mayor, thank you as always for joining us on the show.
Thanks for having me.
We always begin these mayoral interviews by asking people the question of why do you want to be mayor? In your case, you've already had the job. Why do you want to have it again?
Well, I believe I'm the best person to lead the city forward at this moment, to continue to have prosperity in Nashville, but to see some change in government and some improvements in the quality of life in Nashville.
Why do you think you're going to be a better candidate than the major candidates against you? How are you better or different than Carol Swain? She says you're one of those people that spends money like drunken sailors.
I've heard her say that. She's not particularly familiar with Metro government, so I'll give her a pass on that. I've demonstrated over the last year plus that I'm willing to make the hard decisions to move the city forward and at the same time address the real issues that we have in the city. What
makes you a better candidate and better mayor than John Ray Clemens?
Well, I think it's experience. It's a depth of knowledge about the government, about how it works, about how to get things done. With all due respect to Representative Clemens, I think being mayor is a lot more than just being bombastic. It's more about bringing people together, reaching consensus, and moving the city forward.
Let's talk about John Cooper. He's got some experience in Metro government. In the last debate, first televised debate earlier this week, he was the only, you got attacked by all sides, but the only one you attacked back at a little bit was John Cooper by name. Does that mean you think he's the most likely, most formidable candidate you have to face for re-election?
Well, Councilman Cooper has been not clear, at least, and I guess I would say misrepresented the facts to a fair amount about where the city is financially, about his role in getting the city into the circumstances it's in, and so I think it's an important decision for the city about who the next mayor is going to be, and it's important for them to have the facts, and the facts are that the 2017-2018 budget that Councilman Cooper sponsored it began all of the financial concerns that the city had. It set the tax rate too low, it used all our reserves, and it made promises that the city just couldn't keep. Councilman Cooper touts his experience as a Brentwood developer as giving him some sort of special financial wizardry.
You said Williamson County in the debate. You didn't say Brentwood. There's parts of Brentwood that are in Nashville.
True, but okay, we'll go with either one. Pat, you can choose. He's either a Williamson County or a Brentwood developer. And if he's going to tout that experience, people need to understand how he actually made decisions as a councilman when it comes to the budget. And frankly, he made bad decisions for the city.
You came into office in the wake of the resignation of Mayor Megan Barry under scandal. You referenced that in the TV ad that I've seen. You pledged to return trust by citizens in Metro government. What have you done to do that?
Sure. So a couple of things in particular. When I started in March of 2018, we had a budget that had to happen very quickly, and I didn't get a chance to talk to people in the community about their priorities. So this year I've met with more than 40 neighborhood associations to talk to them about where they want to see the city go. I've had probably 10 coffees in the mayor's office with diverse groups to talk to them. We've hired the city's first ever chief compliance officer to make sure that we're fulfilling all the obligations the city has, both legally and ethically. And that goes back to my long-term commitment to ethics. I was the council member who sponsored the most recent revision to the council's ethics ordinance.
You had your second budget, the first one you had time to put all together before the council this past year. For the first time in the 56-year history of Metro, a budget went into effect by default. The council did not pass a budget on its own, couldn't agree about a tax increase, so therefore your budget went into effect. Isn't that pretty much of a sign that this community, at least politically, is in disarray at the courthouse? They don't quite know which way they ought to lead the city?
Well, I would say the community is divided right now. I think the right direction for the city was not to raise taxes this year, and so I could not support the council's budget that raised taxes, and I'll give you one reason why. The council's budget would have raised taxes by about 15%, and that 15% would have been paid by every policeman and firefighter and library worker and public works worker in town, and they would not have gotten a single penny in raise at the same time. So it's just not fair to our employees for us to raise raise their taxes and not give them a raise.
The council didn't make any changes to your budget, so whatever's in the budget for next year is what you ask it to be.
That's right.
You talk a lot about schools wanting school teachers getting larger raises, yet your budget left out the step raises, the raises that are given to teachers in their early years. You're a longtime student of the Metro budget.
Sure.
Why was that left out? That doesn't seem to make sense for somebody who says we want more money for teachers.
Well, I do want to get more money to teachers, and I'm committed to a multi-year way to do that.
Had you put the step raises in there, they'd be getting more than just the 3% that's in your budget.
Not all of them. In fact, just about half of them would.
But the younger teachers would have.
Some of them would have. The ones from years 6 to 10 would not have gotten any raise. And so that is a fundamental problem that the school system has in terms of how they compensate teachers. And in fact, the teachers that they're losing the most right now would not have gotten a step raise. The ones from years 6 to 10 would not have gotten a step raise because that's how they've designed their system. That's why it was not right to raise taxes on those teachers who live in our county and give them a 1% increase in their pay and raise their taxes 15%. The council was just fundamentally wrong about how they were approaching that. Now,
but John Cooper voted against the tax increase.
He did, and I think that was the right decision on his part. But and that's not what it was all about. This was not a vote about this election. This was a vote about what is the right direction for our community, and how do we get a comprehensive pay plan that is for both police and fire and our regular employees and teachers that makes sense for the community and can get funded over time.
But the community continues to grow and prosper, yet we still don't seem to be able to fund basic services. Why? That's been going on now for at least 2 years, if not longer.
Right. Well, first, we are funding our basic services. We are paying our bills as they come due. We got more money to teachers and firefighters and police this year. We raised the starting pay for police 6.4%. But the fundamental reason that we are tight is going back to John Cooper's 2017-2018 budget, because the tax rate was set too low. He spent our reserves down to the bare minimum and made promises we couldn't keep. If that had not happened, none of these budget problems would be existing in our city right now. And that is just the fundamental truth about the circumstances of this city.
Mayor David Briley is our guest on Inside Politics. We're talking about the election coming up on August 1st, where he's a candidate for re-election. Back to continue our conversation with the mayor after this break.